For a long time, I was doing all the right money things. So I was tracking expenses, I was saving when I could, I was trying to be responsible. But to be honest with you, I still felt this tension. So don't get me wrong, I was not broke, I was never broke, I was not overspending, I was not ignoring my money altogether, but I also was not still at peace with it, if you know what I mean. And I thought that if I just kept being disciplined, that everything would be okay and I would eventually feel better, but I didn't. Let me try and explain that a little better. So there was this constant low-level tension. It wasn't panicking or having a crisis like, oh my God, I won't be able to afford these bills anymore. It was more like this open loop in the back of my head. So I was aware that something needed to change so that I can get rid of that low-level tension. Because in a way I realized that I was never really fully relaxed about money. And how this looked like in real life was that I kept thinking about, oh, is this price cheap enough? Or this feeling that I need to stop postponing figuring out why I was still feeling tense. And I guess part of me back then thought, the solution is to manage better, to be more consistent, be more disciplined, be more aware of the things that I was doing. But that's actually not what brought me to the stage of financial peace of mind. Because the thing is, how discipline works is you have to keep doing the thing. And that takes up a lot of energy. And when it comes to money, that also means you need to pay constant attention. And then with constant attention, this stress level, this tension, it stays. And then the problem is that you simply get exhausted by all the things that you're doing, all the thoughts you have, all the things you think about, all the actions you take. And all of those are a ton of different decisions you have to make, right? And I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but there is this thing that's called decision fatigue, which simply means that the more decisions you have to take over the course of the day, the less good the decision quality becomes and the more tired you get. So what I'm trying to say here is that discipline and willpower, it's finite. It ends at a certain point and then we just burn out. And so for me, the shift was not a new tactic of being more disciplined. It was actually a system. It was a system that made me realize that I didn't have to think about money all the time. I didn't have to make decisions about money all the time. Because in a way, it was the system that took care of it, if that makes any sense. And what the system did is it stopped me having to remember everything and having to do all the actions. And it was freeing up so much energy in my brain because it didn't have to keep those things anymore. Do you know what I mean? So the tension dropped when money didn't need all this attention anymore. So bills were paid without me ever thinking about them, at least the ones that are recurring. And I even made it a habit once a bill reaches me, either electronically or physically, then I pay it off immediately. So it's like, see it, act on it, and then it's done. Then also saving happened without me actively having to decide to do so. And all of this wasn't me caring less. Actually, the opposite was the case. So I cared about to get that taken care of. And I didn't earn more, but I can tell you, suddenly I saved more. I optimized what I was doing, and ironically, that led to me having to do less. And all of that was because I moved the responsibility for my money from my brain to that system I had built. And so it wasn't I who managed the money anymore. It just got handled by the system. And once I did this, first up, my wealth grew much faster. Second, I felt so much lighter. Because when you think about it, when you don't have to micromanage, the daily money stuff, then you can actually pay attention to the bigger picture. And then you get to a place where you think about it less and less, and you move the actual decisions that have to be made to a specific time. For example, once a month, once a quarter, maybe even once a year. So if money feels tense to you, you don't have to be perfect right from the start. You just start building your system step by step, and then the tension drops, and then everything becomes easier. Easier and more efficient. So just remember, when you're tired of thinking about money all the time, that means that your brain is holding too much of the work, and you don't fix that by trying harder or be more disciplined, but instead by building a system that acts as your brain. And when you think about this systemization of your money, the things you can think about is, how are my bills paid at the moment? How am I saving at the moment? How am I investing at the moment? Do I have an active plan for retirement? Things like that. Do you have a specific system of how you spend your money on things that you love? So those are all areas where you can look for systemization. And the more structure you have in all of those areas of your money, the more the tension will drop and the easier it will all get and the more fun. Yes, please believe me when I say money can actually be fun. All right, and that is because you get to a point where you don't get exhausted anymore, right? And you know in the back of your head that it's taken care of, that the system that you build is working for you, and that gives you that financial peace of mind. And it also at some times gives you the space of thinking about decisions regarding the bigger picture. All right, hope that helps. If you already have a system or parts of a system, I would love to hear about them. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your precious time with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.